Today we are wiring up the real hotel availability using the Amadeus API, filtering for, say, 4-star hotels with a gym, etc., enriching with Google Places photos, and orchestrating it through our MCP tool server. In 30 minutes or so, you will see the end-to-end flow involving the planner, the hotel search, the budget filter, natural language narration, and ready for our UI. Welcome back to Cloud AI Nexus 360, where real-world cloud projects meet intelligent innovation. We always ask you to subscribe to our channel, to send a comment and like, and set your notification bell so that we keep on providing you with premium content. Thank you. So here is a high level. The front end or an LLM might be able to call our MCP server with a JSON-RPC tools call. The MCP server invokes the Hotel Lambda, which calls Amadeus to list hotels and fetch offers in chunks. We normalize to the hotel card, providing names, the star list, the price per night, images like maps, URLs, etc. If a budget is provided, the MCP server calls the budget lambda to pick the best matches. Finally, we can narrate the results for a friendlier UX. Today, we are going to be working in two areas: the Lambda Hotel Agent and the Orchestrator MCP server. So I'll just open up the repo to show you where those are hosted. So we're going to be looking at this particular file. We're going to open it up for you to see what's going on there. And we're going to look at the handler as well. Right now, we're not utilizing Places Enrichment per se. We're also going to be looking at the MCP server because that serves as the router of some sort. So the agent PY is essentially the brains, and the Lambda handler is the API envelope. We're also going to be looking at the Amadeus provider, which does the interaction with the Amadeus API. So we're going to just be referring to this as the time goes on. The agent PY takes a stay and returns normalized hotels. It calls the Amadeus provider, then enforces our brand rule, which is 4-star plus and a gym with optional indoor pool. It also computes per night estimates if only total is provided. Finally, we optionally enrich with Google Places for photos and URLs. As you can see this function here, so what this does is calculates the checkout and check-in day safely, guarantees a minimum of 1 night, and on passing or math error returns 3 nights as a default fallback used for demos/resilience. The overall purpose is to prevent division by 0 and ensures per night logic always has a non-zero denominator. So the filter underscore 4-star with Jim, as you can see here. This essentially filters the provider results, obviously the candidates, to only hotels, which is greater or equal to 4-star. Although, as we said previously, the Amadeus API doesn't provide the star rating of the hotels, because this is essentially a test environment, and that will include gym or fitness in amenities. Optionally, it might indicate whether there is a selection of an indoor pool as well. The purpose here is to enforce quality tiering and user preference before normalization. So the normalized hotel function, as you can see there, its purpose is to standardize the name, the star rating, and amenities field, derives the per night price. The estimated range is GPB using total price GPP, nice fallback. It ensures that every returned hotel DIC is complete and UI ready. Its overall purpose is to normalize provider responses to a consistent schema before enrichment or display. And lastly, the enrich hotels with places. This essentially, the function here is obviously controlled by environmental variables like enable places photos. So when this is enabled, it calls the enrich hotels with places to attach. So it's enabled by, say, the value 1. And if this is enabled, it's going to call the enrich hotel places with places to attach the photo URLs from Google Places. It's also going to provide verified coordinates or map links, and optionally it could provide description of or landmark and proximity data. If that is not available, the manner in which it is described here is going to, if there's a failure, it's going to, the whole idea is for it to fall gracefully if the enrichment model is missing or the API is unavailable. The overall purpose of this particular function within the run task is to visually enhance the hotel cards with imagery and map context while maintaining overall resilience. So this is the handler PY, which is the handler code, and the handler accepts direct API gateway in terms of whatever messaging that is coming through or the JSON-RPC inputs. Its aim is to normalize city latitude and longitude and return a consistent shape. Obviously, the feature flag, if the hotel agent directs is true, it ensures it hits the Amadeus directly. So this is essentially what it is. You can see what the cause looks like, the JSON RPC unwrap, which the final envelope, and the manner in which the code is written here. So this is the MCP server. We've gone through this previously, but we just want to highlight it here because obviously there is a stringing together with the hotel agent. So this essentially exposes our capabilities as MCP tools. It also offers a one-shot planner execute to parse a natural query plan to fetch hotels and apply the necessary budget, as well as narrate. Although obviously we've not enabled the use of the planner agent as part of the front end as we speak. So you can see some of the environmental variables there. So these are essentially the hotel budget, the allowed origin, and also to include the responder. So when the maximum price is provided to hotel search, the MCP will always run the budget filter. And this was sort of done resiliently, so we don't have any leaks that go over budget. And that keeps the UX consistent. If the user stays under a particular value, it wouldn't actually see higher options. For instance, if you set your budget to say £200 a night, you're not going to be seeing options of say £500 a night. So you can see in terms of the planner execute, you can see all the details there, the functionality around the budget, how it has been wired in here, etc., etc. So this is just to see what environmental variables we have set up here. Obviously, I'm not going to show you what the keys are, but for your information, we have we got the Amadeus API key, which is set in AWS Secrets Manager. We have a key from Google Places, which is also set in AWS Secrets Manager. We also have some environmental variables we've set up, as you can rightly see here, in relation to things like the variable which in relation to the code. So sort of rather than hard coding this, we kind of reference the variables here in the Lambda functions. For the MCP server, we do have some environmental variables which we've activated as well, and that is to allow for a bit of decoupling and to build capability and to be able to allow for easy debugging, as well as to expand the capability. For instance, if we needed to add other capabilities like say weather API, or maybe the amount of pollen in the area for my set holiday duration, we can simply use this manner to string together those particular functionality or capabilities, or what you might refer to as AI agents. Some of them might be pretty much workflowish, and some of them might be autonomous. So it depends on how we want to build this in its entirety. So we're going to be doing some tests, sort of a direct Lambda interrogation, as well as the JSON-RPC via the MCP server. So I'll just run a few commands and I'll just give you an idea of what I'm trying to do. So here, what am I testing? I'm trying to test the end-to-end hotel search path in our Lambda, essentially sort of an Amadeus test API calls, the hotel ID, the chunking, the response assembly. I'm also trying to test the amenity filtering, although, as I rightly said previously, that is not foolproof because we're using a sandbox in relation to Amadeus, so it's not working as we expected. We're also looking at budget enforcement in relation to the budget here, but I don't know, this one happens to seem to have passed the budget. Let's see. Not sure why it passed the budget. Interesting. And the response unwrapping. So here we are trying to see whether the pattern is correctly handled by the API proxy style return, and so what is the expectation? The expectation is that we're going to get the hotel ID, we're going to get a name, we're going to get an estimated price, and we're going to get the supposed currency. So if we had passed, if the narration was enabled, if we pass the user responder is true to the handler, it means that we're going to be calling the narrate. And that will keep this. So we're going to try that and see whether we're going to see the narrate coming through. I think previously it wasn't working because it wasn't, I was trying to reach the Lambda function directly as opposed to routing it via the MCP server. So that's why we weren't getting the narration. And that is similar to what was happening with the budget as well. Because it's not coming through the MCP server endpoint, the budget thing was not working because everything has to flow from the budget, the MCP server in terms of the correct routing and the planning. So that's what, so you can see now you have a bit of narration in terms of what they found. So this is the narration. Hello, I found a couple of hotel options for your stay in London from 12 November to 24 November. And London Marriott Hotel, Regent's Park, London Marriott Hotel, Kensington are both available within your budget of £400 a night. The Regent's Park location is priced at $223 per night, while Kensington Hotel is slightly higher at around $242 per night. Both hotels are well within your budget, leaving you with some extra funds for other activities. Unfortunately, I don't have information about indoor pools for these hotels, which I know was a preference for you. You might want to contact the hotel directly and inquire about the amenity. Okay. And it also tells us the prompt that was sent in relation to the planner agent. It says you're a planner, return only valid minified JSON matching the schema. The agents in question is hotel search, budget filter, responder narrate. It says the notes is one short line. The rules, no markdown or prose, JSON only. Hotel search must come before budget filter. If unsure, return agent search, budget filter, responder narrate, blah 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 de blah. And it also gives you the raw response as well. So this is all functioning. So this is supposed to test the API Gateway, MCP server, the Hotel Agent Lambda, the part that the part is working correctly, as well as the budget filter, but it seems it did not see any results because of what it comes back in the narration. So we'll try it again and we'll see whether we might need to up the budget. The narration is also the narration enabled. I'm not sure. Let's try it again. Try it again. Try it a couple of times. It says we should widen the search. Oh, so it now works. So that is, it has, what did it find? It found, how many hotels did it find? Just one hotel at £176, 38 pence. Okay, and that's good, and it gives you a narration of some sort here at the bottom, and we can see that it's very consistent in the narration. So we're going to be doing like a one-shot planner, and that is to sort of see what the planner executes is going to come up with. So this is supposed to support a natural sentence, and we're going to have the plan, the search, the budget, and the narration in one call. So that's the idea here. Okay. So I'll just run a couple of other commands, and you're going to see what the differences are in terms of the output. Some of them are a bit more complex. I think at some point I wanted to ensure that I see the actual prompt from the code in relation to the narration as well, the narration prompt. I'm going to run a couple of these. You're going to see what's going to happen. So there's another one. Okay, so you see in this one, I wanted the narration prompt to come through. I also wanted the planner prompt to come through. So it says you're a planner, return only valid minified JSON matching the schema, and agents, hotel search, budget filter, responder narrate, blah, 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 and must come before the budget. So it sort of gives you sort of an order. Then I also wanted the narration prompt in terms of the response that is fed back to the customer. It says you're a helpful travel concierge. Write a concise, friendly summary in 4 to 6 sentences about the hotel options. So the rules is that it's going to be in plain text only, no markdown, no bullet points. Do not invert prices, links, amenities, or details, etc., etc. So it's just telling you how this whole thing is strung together. I'm going to run another prompt here, another command as well. Just put a few of these through. So these are just a couple of tests. You do some validation of some sort. So it says you're a planner, I can't find any hotels, blah, 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 blah. So that's fine. So what we try to test here is to validate the full MCP planner, the tools, the narration pipeline via the API gateway. And this is essentially the planner execute call, and we're basically testing it end to end. So what have we proved in essence? So we've proved that the JSON-RPC over the API gateway is the /MCP is the correct endpoint. The request is parsed and routed accordingly. We've also proved that the planner agent is able to turn the natural query and to format that accordingly so that the tools at the back end is able to interpret what it sees in relation to the location, the dates, the number of adults, and hopefully the amenities as well as the budget. Is structured into the necessary inputs in relation to the notes and stay block. We also are able to see that the tool sequencing, the planner is selected accordingly in relation to the order in which it makes it to be logical, in relation to the hotel search, the budget filter, the responder narrates. We've tested the hotel search as well. And the hotel search, the Amadeus test inventory is queried accordingly, and respective candidates are returned with a short list as well as the top candidates. We've also tested the budget filter, which is applied against a maximum price GPP. And we've saw the meta under budget, it basically passes. If it passes the budget cap, those results are not returned, especially when you go through the MCP pathway. The narration is returned in plain English, and that comes out from the LLM. And the LLM in use is the cloud's LLM model. We also strung in some planner telemetry. So in the log, you will see that the model handled planning, a bit of tokens, the timing and prompts, which is called the planner metadata. All right. So let's just try this again and see whether it comes through. Okay. So I think it comes up with something this time. It came up with one hotel, which happens to be some test hotel that was returned, not the real hotel per se. So at the end of the day, if we had to, we also wrote some code accordingly that provided some parsing, which will accept the format, whether that was day, month, and year, which is the ISO strings, or even if we just said the date to the start date to the end date, the month, as well as the year. And we also provided, so the MCP will basically normalize this accordingly to both ways, whether that be year, month, and date, before essentially invoking the child lambdas. So some troubleshooting pointers, which we are going to add in the repo just for completion. And assuming we had empty results in terms of the hotel agent, if a user sends in a query and is not getting any returned hotels, it's possibly that the hotels, those dates might have been sold out, and obviously the radius might be obviously too small, and there is a potential to use a fallback geo coordinates there. We also need to ensure that our Amadeus secrets are still valid. We can also look at the logs in terms of the Amadeus hotel list, the geocode offers, the total cards built, etc., etc. And that could be found in CloudWatch logs. If we have no prices, we are missing currency, we can see the offers are lacking totals. We can pick the best that are available. We can also set the hotel currency to GBP, although what is happening based on the location, it simply returns the currency of the location in question. And if no, I think it does return that for, say, a variety of places, whether that be South Asia Pac, Europe, or the US. We might also experience some throttling, and to guard against that, we kind of did a bit of chunking of sizes and set the maximum chunks. And also, we also kept the inter-chunk sleep to greater than 0.1 seconds. If images happen to be missing, it will be good to say verify the Amadeus. It's not necessarily Amadeus media per se, it's more coming from the Google Places. What is, so there's a sort of a correlation between what is returned for Amadeus in terms of the hotel, in terms of the latitude and longitude, and how that is fed into Google Places to return the locations of the hotel. If we had, say, and the other thing which we also had to enable is the enable places photos, and obviously ensure that the Google Places API key is up to date and is current. And I think recently I had to discard the old one and generate a new one because I noticed, silly me, that the API keys we are returning as part of from the server backend. So that has now been, I tried to sort that out and I've excluded that, so it's not coming, it's not being rendered, or it's not being surfaced at all. We're now using a proxy instead. In terms of the budget filter, which is not applied, the maximum price GBP must be present in MCI Hotel Search or user planner execute. So MCP server will never intentionally return over budget hotels when a budget is provided and the routing is via the MCP server pathway. Today we showed you what we've built so far in relation to enabling a reliable hotel search with Amadeus API, essentially enforced with the star brand rating and the amenities requirement in terms of the gym. We also added photo enrichment to that particular capability and orchestrated it all through the MCP tools with a strict budget handling and optional narration. So coming soon is episode 6, where we're going to be looking at mastering LLM ops. Essentially, that's LLM observability. We're going to be looking at that, the startup around CloudWatch, and the widgets and all the visualization we can get, as well as possibly setting up some alarms just to sense check that you can monitor whether your LLM interaction is as performant as it should be. We'll look at some matrices around those as well. And I think we'll basically be wrapping this up, and we are going to be looking at more exciting use cases for you in the coming weeks that is going to blow your mind. I think we'll look at things around possibly voice agents. That is a hot area in relation to how that could be deployed very quickly for, say, SMA, small and medium scale businesses on the fly. And we'll also be looking at developing, and this particular, all the artifacts we've created for this episodes are basically could be found on Cloud AI Nexus 360 GitHub repo. You could just go there and you can also contribute to the development. And we also keep on asking you to send a comment, contribute to the overall development and to our channel. Set your notification bell on, as well as subscribe to our channel so we can continue to build and develop premium content in relation to the intersection of cloud and intelligent innovation. Thank you.